Welcome to Being Boss, a podcast for creatives, business owners, and entrepreneurs who want to take control of their work and live life on their own terms. I'm your host, Emily Thompson, and in this episode, I'm joined again by Nikki Nash, author of Market Your Genius, to talk about planning, creating, and executing marketing plans for your business. You can find all the tools, books, and links we reference on the show notes at www.beingboss.club. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe to this show and share us with a friend. Need another podcast recommendation? How about one that's closing the gap and helping more women level up by sharing stories and strategies from powerful women in leadership? That's what you'll get when you listen to CEO School by Samira Madani, brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network. One of my favorite recent episodes was with Yasmin Cheyenne, a self-healing educator, talking about setting boundaries and prioritizing what's most important to you, which you know is perfectly aligned with the conversations that we have here at Being Boss. Learn more and listen to CEO School wherever you get your podcasts. Nikki Nash is a podcast host, Hay House author, and creator of Market Your Genius, a training and development brand on a mission to equip entrepreneurs with the tools and resources they need to share and profit from their message. Nikki was previously on the Being Boss podcast in episode number 265 to share more about her book, Market Your Genius. Nikki, welcome back to Being Boss. I'm so happy to see your face.
Oh my goodness. I am so glad to be back and to see your face. This is the best day ever.
I think we're going to have a lot of fun on this recording. We were just talking about how we just got off a long weekend. We're both wondering if we can even use words. We're about to test it out and see.
Yeah, it's going to be an experiment in speaking. Welcome to this beautiful audio experience.
Right? Everyone get ready. Perfect. It has been almost a year since you were on the show. I feel like we've maybe chatted a couple times between, just in little ways, but I would love a full update. What have you been up to? What has happened in your life and work since we last chatted in the summer of 2022?
Yes, it is the summer of 2022 now.
Oh my God.
But I'm with you. I almost was like, wait, what year is it?
Okay, 2021. I don't know what year it is. The other day, I totally was telling someone it was 2023 and they were like, are you insane? And I was like, actually, maybe.
You know what it is? You plan retreats and events and sometimes marketing calendars so far in advance that I am lucky that I know who I am, let alone what year it is, what month it is, the date. It's a lot.
Indeed. Especially these days. I feel like I keep having conversations talking to people about 2019 and we were talking about it was 10 years ago, way back in 2019. And we're like, that was just 3 years ago. Anyway, so 2021, almost a year ago.
Almost a year ago. So I think we officially recorded the episode right before my book launched.
Yes.
So I had a book come out, which has been insane. In so many ways, but it's just been really wonderful to see how many people are like, oh my goodness, I love this book and it's so relatable. And I'm also learning marketing and I laugh. And I'm like, yes, my goal was to trick you into reading a marketing book. You're reading a book and you're like, oh my gosh, entrepreneurship. This is exactly what it's like. What a struggle. Wait, I'm learning. It's that's my goal. It's feeding kids vitamins and ice cream or something, or medicine.
For sure. So book came out and you're loving what's happening.
Yes. No, it's been really great for the business and for me and just being able to reach so many people that I don't know if I ever would have reached otherwise in all parts of the world, like people in Africa and people in, Australia and literally all of the continents and having folks really share with me, wow, I've loved this book. It's been really great. It's been helpful and it's been fun. But it's also been, I don't even know how to describe it, a lot in a good way. Yeah. You market your business and your brand and then your products, and then adding a book to the mix is another product that for me, it's I know when it gets in the hands of people, it'll make an amazing difference on their lives and ultimately bringing them into my pipeline. But it's the amount of money I personally make on a book, it feels like negative money. I feel like I put so much effort into something that I'm losing. Like it feels like I'm losing money, right? Like I'm not literally losing money, but it's just with a book deal, you don't really make a lot of money post advance. And you're just like, huh.
That's it. Yeah. Right. No, but you're definitely talking about a couple of things that I've heard authors bring up. And one, I mean, we all talk about this labor of love. Like you have a book baby. It is a labor of love. Like you put so much energy into it with really not a whole lot of getting back. I mean, but also you do, but it's all the non-monetary benefits that you talk about here often. This idea that sometimes the work that you do doesn't necessarily have to be tied to direct revenue, right? It's like, it's the amazing feedback. It's the gratification. It's the opportunities. It's all of these things. And book babies give you lots of non-monetary benefits.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. I feel like it's majority non-monetary benefits, but I think so many people go into it thinking like, wow, I'm going to get a book deal too. And I'm going to be a gazillionaire. And I'm like, yeah. That's why there are
Don't drink that Kool-Aid.
few like wealthy authors, you know, you've got the few that write a Harry Potter and, you know, get book deals, and then TV deals and such. But, it's not as common.
No, but the non-monetary benefits, the feedback that you get, like the people who are finally reading a marketing book and learning the thing, like those warm fuzzies, they may not feed you, but they sure feel good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Writing a book it was an amazing experience for me. I love doing it. I love the impact it's bringing into the world. And I am very aware, and I knew it going into it, that it wasn't going to be like my biggest revenue generator.
Yeah, but a very exciting point along your path. What else has been going on? So book, or has it just been book? Have you dedicated your entire year to book? In which case, honestly, would not be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the whole year. It was a big piece of it, where now that book is out, finishing up an online course that is kind of like the level up from the book. So the book comes with a little companion course with materials and things like that, but it's an actual, hey, here is like the magic of the course. And I'm also doing a bit of a rebrand. Everything for the longest time was under my name. It was like Nikki Nash and Co., like Nikki Nash. And we're changing everything to Market Your Genius for a number of strategic reasons. But yeah, so we're doing that bit of a rebrand as well, like an unofficial rebrand.
Yeah. I mean, then that's a big task in itself. Perfect. I love that. I love that this book has been some rocket fuel for you to make some other changes in your business. I'm very much so looking forward to seeing what all of this sort of looks like in like 2, 3, 5 years, because books, again, not necessarily great for, monetization in terms of like directly, but they can feed into such amazing things in your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, you mentioned a minute ago this idea of marketing the book, and the team and I were talking recently about, some things that we wanted to bring to the podcast. And one of the things that I get questions about all of the time, especially in the Being Boss community, is marketing plans. What does it look like, to be strategic or to make sure you're, touching all of the bases? Hitting all of your bases? What do you do to bases?
I mean, yeah. Steal them. No, slide into them. No, I'm just kidding. trying to give you some baseball references, and I don't watch a lot of baseball, so I don't know how that's going to go.
Sure. But, so
we cover all the bases.
That's it. You cover all of your bases. That's the word I'm looking for. So I wanted to bring you in to talk marketing plans, because Market Your Genius, I feel like it probably happens a lot better if you are making marketing plans for the things that you want to sell to the world. So maybe let's start with just like a basic definition of a marketing plan, and maybe even looking at what's the difference between like just broad marketing something and actually creating a marketing plan to market something.
Yeah. Like I look at your marketing plan as your roadmap. And it's a really simple roadmap that's going to say, hey, here's how we're going to accomplish specific goals. right? And so many people have heard of a business plan, and there's a marketing section, right, to your business plan, but that's not your marketing plan, right? Like your marketing plan is really sitting down and going, okay, what am I selling? Who am I selling it to? And how am I going to get my product in their hands? And it covers a number of bases, which we can talk about, but in the simplest form, it's just your game plan for acquiring and keeping clients. And I went into my business, even as a marketer at the very beginning, just doing stuff, right? And so for anybody who's just been doing stuff like, ooh, TikTok's here, got to do a TikTok video. Oh my gosh, what? Instagram Reels is now a thing. Let me do that too. And I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and speaking on stages, and I'm going to start a podcast, and I could keep going. And right, like all of those are marketing things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a plan. You may have an idea in your head as to why you're doing it. You may even have a content plan that says, here's the content I'm going to create, but that's not your marketing plan. That's just, a content plan, which could be in some ways touching and a part of your marketing plan, but it's really not the same thing.
Yeah. I see bosses all the time who even, they want to, launch a new product, a new course, and you are a product maker and you made a new necklace or like whatever it is. And you just like share it on one or maybe more of your platforms, but oftentimes it's just one, like I'm going to put this on Instagram, and they think, and then maybe they sell one, maybe they sell a couple, and they wonder like, why aren't more people buying this thing? And I always ask, well, how many times have you shared it? And they're like, just the once, or just in the one place, or whatever it may be. And so I often find that literally the difference between just marketing and a marketing plan is, very strategically creating multiple touch points so that you are significantly more likely to actually meet your goals. But I even want to go back to this idea of like making goals and really wanting to sort of meet whatever milestones you've created for yourself. Is I feel like a lot of time bosses aren't even thinking, like they're not even starting there. They're just thinking, oh, I need to share this new necklace with my Instagram people.
Yeah. And step one is always coming up with what does success look like, right? So for anybody who's read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or teens or insert anything that goes there, but 7 Habits of Highly Effective blank, right? Habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. And so it's really about sitting down and going, okay, what does the end look like? What is the end goal? What is the end game? What does success look like? And creating a clear picture of that, because without that, you can't build a marketing plan. And so often people are like, what should I do to market my business? And I'm like, I don't know. What's your goal? Like, what are we trying to accomplish? We could do a lot of things to market something, but that doesn't mean you're going to get the results that you want. And you have to be really clear on the results that you're going for and what success looks like. Because so often, on top of just setting a goal, people often set the wrong goals, right? And so I have people say, I just want people to know that I exist. It's awareness. I just want to build awareness. Great. So if you built awareness and everybody knew about you, but you didn't make any sales yet, you weren't going to make sales for 2-3 years, would you be happy? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, then your goal isn't awareness. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, it could be one of your goals, but that's not the end all be all goal, right? And so it really comes down to getting clear on what success looks like.
All right. We've talked a little bit about what it is and really even kind of why it's important. But do you have anything to add as to why it's so important to think about your marketing in terms of a marketing plan as opposed to just sharing what it is that you're creating?
Yeah. Marketing plans are very much like GPS. So you could say, like, I could say right now that I want to go to the Grand Canyon, right? But if I don't know how the heck to get to the Grand Canyon, which I'm like, oh, Arizona, I mean, I know that's west of me, but I don't really know how to get there. Let's say if I just hopped in the car, I would have no idea how to get there, but I could move generally in the right direction, but it might take me longer to get there. I might not get there at all without any sort of map, GPS, like anything, right? And that's a lot like what operating without a marketing plan is like, right? Like you could be doing things that could be moving you in generally the right direction, but you won't actually know if you're going to get to your destination, and you won't really have the most effective or efficient way of getting there necessarily without having a plan. And so your marketing plan is essentially your GPS navigating you from where you are right now to where you want to be. And so it's so important to have a plan, because without one, you're really just operating on a whim. And sometimes, you may say that you were going to the Grand Canyon, but along the way, you might go, oh my gosh, there's a sign for, the world's largest bottle of nail polish. I don't know why that came to my mind, but something exciting, or like a giant outlet mall. And next thing you know, you're in Mall of America, which is nowhere near the Grand Canyon. And you've just like forgotten that you even wanted to get to the Grand Canyon. So having a marketing plan helps you remember what the end goal is, have a plan to get there, and then understand, oh, okay, we were going this way, but there's a roadblock. All right, let's reroute, let's reroute, let's figure this out, because you've thought through where you're going and how you're going to get there. And so you need that plan for that reason.
Yes to all of those things. I hope everyone just heard really the difference between just marketing things, which is just getting in your car and going, right? Don't know where you're going. But you're driving, you're doing it. You're showing up on social media. You're showing up for your newsletter, all of those things, but you're not going anywhere. You're just showing up, which is important. I think that is like, kind of step number one is you need to be showing up, but success is much easier to achieve when you show up with a plan, with a strategy, and that is the marketing plan. It's official. I'm not only going to Inbound 2022, I'm speaking at it. And I cannot wait to share what we've been cooking up on the future of content creation. Whether you're a founder, an entrepreneur, or working on your side hustle, join me this September at Inbound 2022 for an experience you won't forget. Inbound 2022 merges innovative presentations and breakout sessions with festival-level energy in a hybrid online and in-person event. Learn, create, and connect with leaders in marketing, sales, operations, and more this September 6th through 9th. With curated breakout content and new tracks, I can't wait to get inspired and learn from real leaders who are literally building the future of our world. Learn more and get your tickets now at inbound.com, and I'll see you there. And I want to share a little peek behind the scenes even of what this looks like. Even in terms of being boss, I've been sitting here sort of weighing, do I want to share being boss or almanac? And I'll tell you, we're better at this at being boss than we are at almanac. That is full disclosure. But, all year long, we are marketing. And everyone should be, if you have a business, or do you agree you should always be marketing in some capacity?
Yeah.
Yes.
I truly believe marketing is one of those fundamentals in your business. It's like, you need it in the foundation of the house, right? And
yes.
Really, without it, it doesn't necessarily mean your business is going to get anywhere. And what marketing looks like for you could be different, but marketing, yes, it's important. It's fundamental, must have.
Always showing up in marketing. But when it comes to a marketing plan, these are things that sort of punctuate your entire year. And for us at Being Boss, we have, we'll create a marketing plan, like a specific marketing window is what we'll call it, a window. And in that window of time, we'll create a plan. And that's going to be us launching something in particular. So in a couple of months, or we actually just did a beta launch of a group coaching program. And that was a very specific marketing window of time where we created a marketing plan where we implemented a strategic marketing situation for helping us achieve the goals related to the beta launch of that group coaching program. So that's the difference between a marketing plan and just otherwise marketing all year. Like, this podcast is marketing, right? I just told you guys about the community and the clubhouse and the group coaching, right? I'm always here sharing the things that we are here doing. But there are moments when we get really strategic about using our marketing properties, which we can probably talk about in a minute, to implement or utilize a marketing plan to help us meet the goals that we want to meet. So you're always marketing. Sometimes you're using marketing plans. So I would love to hear from you about when it is that you think you need a marketing plan. And what I may have shared may have just been totally against everything you believe, and that's totally fine too. Feel free to burst my bubble. But when do you think you need a marketing plan?
Yeah. So I think there are critical moments when you need a marketing plan. And so when you think about a marketing plan, it could be something that literally is, hey, here's my overarching game plan for how I'm going to find strangers, build a relationship with them, and turn them into clients and customers. And that could be your overarching like evergreen marketing plan. It could be a launch plan, which is a lot about what you were just talking about, where it's, hey, I'm launching a specific product in a specific time of year. And we have, when we're launching is maybe listed on our marketing plan, but the details of it could be carved out into a specific launch plan. But I like to think of marketing plans as going, very similar to dating. Hey, who is it that I'm trying to reach? Where are they spending their time? How am I going to specifically get in front of them, capture their attention, get their contact information, and then take them from, hey, I'm interested or considering you and your brand and what you have to offer, to, wow, I'm a heck yeah or a heck no into buying from you. And that is a marketing plan that I think everybody needs. And I like to create those. Really, it's like I create it once, technically, officially, but I edit and revise it along the way, right? So a lot of times marketing plans are very much a hypothesis. Like, I believe that if I do this sequence of events, I'm going to get this result. And then as you implement it and review the results that you get, you'll tweak it and adjust it along the way. And so I may have one specific marketing plan for how I'm going to get people into my online course, Evergreen, right? Like, let's just say that, right? Evergreen, one specific marketing plan. But I may go, you know what? There are critical times in the year, like, New Year, New You, or back to school. I'm totally making this up right now, where it might make sense for me to actively promote the marketing plan or actively promote the course and use a specific launch plan in which I may, either turn off my normal marketing plan or add another layer to it and do something very specific for a period in time. And so if you look at your marketing plan, I personally like to, the first time I do it, build it out once and revisit it multiple times throughout the year, maybe like 6 times, just making sure it's still working. Like, is this working? Would I tweak everything? But once it's solid after that first year, I really just kind of look at it maybe annually. Like, hey, is this thing still working? Do I want to tweak anything? Cool. Let's keep it moving. And then I might build like launch plans or other types of marketing plans, to your point.
Oh, okay. Perfect. You totally just even shifted my mindset a little bit about how I think about that sort of constant marketing you're doing, because it is a marketing plan. I never really just quite thought about that way.
Yeah. Like sitting down and going, hey, I am going to have the Being Boss podcast, right? Like, there was a strategic reason why the podcast began, and really thinking about, okay, how does this layer into where we're trying to go and what we're trying to accomplish? That's part of the marketing plan. And then you may have details like, hey, here's specifically what we're going to do each episode. That would be more, like I said much earlier, a content plan. Or you may go, hey, we're going to launch a specific group program. We're going to leverage the podcast. Bam, that's your launch plan. But overarching how you use the podcast and why it exists and all of that was part of a much bigger marketing plans. So a marketing plan, I don't know why Shrek just popped into my head, but I'm like, it has layers like a parfait, right? So there are many different layers to your marketing plans, and you may add to it for specific strategic reasons.
Oh, okay, for sure. And I even think about you're adding layers during strategic times, right? So you have, let's even think of it as like you create one once a year and you're like, okay, my goal this year is to, grow this offering or sell more of this product or whatever. Or like, maybe it's even just grow my email list. It's not even like a monetary based thing. I mean, marketing is growing any part of your business, not just the monetized parts of it. Though it all should lead back to that you are a business, right? That's a whole thing. So you create this sort of overarching marketing plan. And part of that is like, where are you going to be showing up and how often, right? So let's say, you want to, I am not going to make up a pretend business model here because it's going to get real convoluted real fast. But let's say you are podcasting once a week. You want to show up on Instagram twice a week. You want to send out your newsletter once every other week, like all the things like That is you creating, it's creating your marketing plan for consistently, or it's a piece of creating your marketing plan to be showing up consistently all year long to push towards this goal that you've created. And then this idea of adding in sections of your year where you are utilizing a more focused, a more intentional, usually a more like high touch, right, little season of marketing where you are focusing on something in particular. So maybe you are launching something new. Maybe it is the holiday season and you want to like really do it Black Friday real good or whatever it may be. You are infusing these like areas of your year with more of a marketing punch, a more like drummed up marketing plan during this sort of all year. And so you are sort of adding layers. And for me here at Being Boss, one of the things that we all often think about, like just sort of to add another layer to it, is we're doing a lot of sort of marketing stuff within like tiers of our audience, of our like total market audience and our community as well. So we have different layers of marketing going on at any of those tiers of people at any given time, which adds like a whole other level of complexity and is something that you can think about too, whether you are, marketing something very outwardly to sort of grow your audience and bring new people in, or if you're marketing things to people who are already a little more involved in what it is that you're doing to get them deeper into what it is that you're doing. So marketing plans are not inherently simple.
They can be. I mean, when you're starting out, and if you've never done a marketing plan for your business, I encourage it to be pretty simple. Like I encourage you to go, okay, where are the people that I want to bring into my ecosystem? Like who are they? Where are they spending their time? And how am I going to capture their attention, right? Like how am I going to get in front of them? How am I going to get their contact information? What am I going to do with their contact information? And how do I make them a client, right? So you could have something that's very simple. And so a marketing plan, just to give an example of something really simple, it could be, I'm going to show up on Instagram using Instagram ads with a video that really captures my audience's attention in such a way that it invites them to a webinar, right? So the video's great, the ad's great. It goes, hey, click here. They click on it. They go to a webinar landing page. They sign up for the webinar. They watch the webinar. I sell them a course, right? Like, so that could be my marketing plan and that could be simple. And I could just do that alone for a minute, right? But as you sell more products, as you want to diversify your lead source, as you get into launches and other things, your plans can get way more complicated. And so what ends up happening is that when I do annual planning, I may not be as detailed as I just was, where it's going to be like, hey, it's a video ad and a webinar and all this other stuff. I may at the high level, my marketing plan may go, we're going to invest time in these platforms. Maybe it's in-person speaking and TikTok. I'm making this up. And we're going to have launch periods in Q4 and Q3. Or Q2 and Q4, we're going to do big launches. And Q1 and Q3, it's going to be just like evergreen marketing. Bam. Simple plan. We sat down, we planned it out. And then you may have, depending on how big your team is or things like that, more specific, right? Like launch plans for that Q2, Q4 launch, or what are we specifically doing when we speak at events, right? So it can get more detailed, but the more complex your plan is going to be, usually you start really high up in terms of, okay, what are we going to do to hit these goals? Okay, we're going to have a couple of launches. We're going to speak on X many stages. We're going to run ads during this period. Here's our budget for it. And bam, like, seems simple until you realize how much needs to be mapped out and project managed and all that. And it can get a lot more complicated down.
It is. But what I want people to understand whenever you hear these things is that this is what it takes to run a profitable business, right? I feel like so much of what you hear around the internet, especially about running online business, especially is that you build it and they will come, right? That's not true, everybody. That's not how it works. To market and grow your business, it does take quite a bit of effort. And so if you are not showing up, and it's not just the showing up part, right? It's not just doing the Instagram, right? Or showing up for a podcast or whatever. It really is about being strategic and showing up in multiple places to really make sure that you're covering your bases to make sure you're doing everything that you can do to reach your goals. And a single Instagram every other day is probably not going to help you get there. It really is it's a whole thing that has to be done in order to carry your business forward.
Absolutely. And I really encourage people to sit down and figure out, why are you going to be on Instagram in the first place? What do you specifically want to happen from Instagram and how you're going to make that happen? And how frequently do you need to show up? And are you doing things organically? Are you partnering with other people? Are you doing things paid? Shout out to my acronym OPP. I hope you now have Naughty by Nature stuck in your head, which stands for, right, organic marketing, paid marketing, partner marketing. But like, it's really sitting down and going, okay, what am I specifically doing? And if you don't sit down and carve out that time, you end up just doing a bunch of things that don't really move the needle, right? It's like me when I go to the gym without a workout plan, right? Like there are moments where I'm like, oh, I completed this workout plan. It was 6 weeks. I forgot to write a new one. Now I'm just going to the gym and I'm showing up and I'm like wandering around. Maybe like I ran on the treadmill. Like I had a good 20 minutes of like, woohoo, but I didn't come up with what to do next. And then I'm just walking around like, what do? I came with my sister. She's still working out and had a plan. I'm just lifting up random weights and putting them away. And then I look like that person at the gym that's like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
And you could be metaphorically doing that for your business. And maybe you're showing up, but you're not really necessarily reaching your metaphorical fitness goals, right? Like you're not getting to the health that you would like to, that health level that you'd like to, because you didn't sit down and go, what do I need to do? How am I going to do it? When am I going to do it? And what happens if it doesn't work the way I want it to, right? Like you have to sit down and plan all of that out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Then what does it look like to plan it out? What do you need in order to create a marketing plan?
Yes. So the first thing is you need to understand, are you in business already or are you brand new, right? So if you're business already, you need to do an honest reality check. Like, where are you right now? Like especially if you sat down and set your goals already. And if you haven't set your goals already, I encourage you to do what I like to call the future forecast exercise, where you literally sit down and you write a date at the top of the page and create a journal entry as if it's that date, right? So if let's just pretend we're planning for 2023, right? So I might write December 31st, 2023 at the top of the page, journal about all the amazing things that happened in the business and how it's looking and the health. Bam, I now know what my goals are. I can extrapolate goals from there. But then I need to go, where the heck am I right now? Right? Like using the Grand Canyon analogy from earlier, getting to the Grand Canyon requires different routes if I'm coming from Sacramento versus if I'm coming from New York City, right? Like the directions are going to be completely different. So I need to understand not only where I'm going, but where am I right now? And so that means understanding who's buying your products, what products do you have that you're selling, products or services, what's selling? Do you even want to sell them all anymore? Like it's really doing a true business like assessment and understanding where are we right now? And then from there, you can start thinking, okay, how do I think I'm going to hit my goals? Let's say I'm making this up. Let's say my goals are I'm going to make this really simple math, $100,000 in revenue, right? And let's say I'm selling a group program that's at $5,000 and like a little mini course that's $27, right? And if I look at my numbers, I'm like, woohoo, all right, I've sold a whole bunch of these $27 things, right? But when I look at the revenue, I may go, wow, okay, so I've sold 4 of the group programs and made $20,000, and I've sold 100 of the $27 thing and made $2,700. And it required the same amount of effort. Maybe strategically, I want to focus on this group program. And then I can sit down and go, okay, my goal is to sell 20 group programs in 2023 to make $100,000 in revenue. And then I might go, okay, the 4 people I got, where the heck did they come from? Did they come from social media? Did they come from referrals? Were they somebody who bought my $27 thing? Maybe you want to keep it because it's a great lead way, right? So it's really doing a true business analysis to understand who is it that especially if you're already selling something, who is it that's going to buy what you're selling? Why are they going to buy it? Where would they come from? And how can you build out a game plan that goes, okay, I'm going to find more of these people, right? I'm going to get them to metaphorically fall in love with me. I'm going to get their contact information. And here's how much follow-up and, relationship building it's going to take to get them from, hey, I gave you my number to, oh, okay, we're exclusively dating, using that metaphor, right? And so when you sit down to answer your question, to build that plan, you have to know those 2 points. Where are you going? Where are you right now? And then everything is a hypothesis. And the best hypothesis, I believe, come from, if you have any sort of history, right? And for me, when I started my business, I did a webinar, brought on 2 new clients from that one webinar. And I thought webinars weren't going to work for me because I had 3 people show up to the webinar. So I was like, oh, webinars don't work. I was supposed to get hundreds and hundreds of people on this webinar. I didn't do it. So I killed webinars. Well, no, if I sat down and looked at my history, I'm like, I had a 66.6% conversion rate from that webinar for something that was over $3,000, right? So maybe I need to explore how I'm going to make webinars work better for me and use that as a big part of my game plan.
When building a business you're passionate about, it's easy to feel like there aren't enough hours in the day. And if you're doing all of your own invoicing and accounting, that's probably a lot of time you're spending on work you might not love. Well, good news, my friends. FreshBooks is built for business owners like you. It's the all-in-one accounting software that saves entrepreneurs and freelancers up to 11 hours a week. That's 11 hours you can spend doing literally anything else, from serving your customers and honing your craft to hustling out a side project or planning your next vacation. From building, sending, and following up on invoices to managing expenses, FreshBooks automates and simplifies all the tough and annoying parts of running your own business. Try FreshBooks free for 30 days with no credit card required by going to freshbooks.com/beingboss to get started today. One thing I do want to point out, because you've mentioned this, but I really need to reiterate it because I could not tell you how many conversations I've had with bosses about what it looks like to create a forecast and to make a hypothesis. And especially around this forecast piece, let me just make this as clear as I can. You make it up.
Yeah.
I oftentimes get business owners who really struggle with forecasting because they don't know. They're just making it up. And the point is, I know that is what a forecast is. You sit down and you make it up. You make goals. You look at your history, if you have some, and you see what you've been able to do with what you've done in the past, and you hypothesize, you make up what it is that you want to do in the future. And so anyone who struggles with making forecasts, because this is something that I talk about in the community, from, Monday meetups that are community-wide to all the way up into the C-suite, which is a weekly mastermind that I run with 6-figure and up bosses. Forecasting is a pain point for everyone because there is this element of walking into your business and just making something up and then literally shaping everything you do in your business around these things that you just made up. But that literally is the nature of forecasting.
100%. And the reason why I intentionally use the word hypothesis when it comes to marketing plan is because people are so concerned with getting it wrong, right? I hear all the time, like, how do I know if I'm doing this marketing plan right? And I'm like, it's a hypothesis, right? Like, it's a best guess. It's an educated guess. Sometimes it's just a guess, right? Like, straight up guess. And the important elements are, if you sit down and you go, who do I truly believe is going to buy this product? I'm going to repeat it, but I'm going to say it in a slightly different way. Like, we're going to use a dating analogy here, right? So it's going, oh, okay. I want to get introduced to these people. I want to get in front of them. Where are they? Where are they spending their time? What networking events are they going to, or events are they going to? What podcasts are they listening to? What social media platforms are they on? What hashtags are they looking at? What content are they looking at, right? Like, get into their head and figure out where are they spending their time, right? It's no different than if you're single looking for a mate and you might be going, which bars would my potential mate go to, or which dating apps are they more likely to be on, right? It's the same concept. And so you want to ask yourself, where the heck are these people spending their time? And then how am I going to show up in the best way possible? Right? Like, am I going to be a guest on the podcast? Am I going to be speaking on the stage? Am I going to be an attendee wearing a super cool shirt that has everybody come up to me going, wow, I love your shirt, right? Like, it's sitting down. How am I going to get in front of these folks? And once I have their attention, what the heck am I going to do with it such that I can get their contact information? Am I going to give them, a discount on their first purchase if they give me their contact information? Am I going to give them a free guide? Am I going to give them, a free chapter of my book? I'm making this up, but what am I going to do that brings somebody in and has them go, wow, I'm really interested in what you're talking about and what you have to offer. I want more. And then once you have them intrigued and you have a way to contact them and all of that jazz, what are you going to do with it? Specifically, right? Like, am I going to invite them to listen to my podcast and send them an email every week to remind them that the latest episode is out? Am I going to do a video? Am I going to be cool like Gary Vee and probably record everything I do and then turn it into like have a team of people chop it up and turn it into content so people literally see me everywhere, right? Like, what am I specifically going to do to show up in somebody's face in a good way and invite them to engage with me, and then invite them to buy from me, and then invite them to buy from me again, or to tell other people about what it's like to buy from me, right? You have to have a plan. And it's just sitting down and going, I think that if I do these things, I will hit my goals. And the key here is to really come up with one simplified at first way in which you're going to do things and validate it. Right? Like, coming up with the plan is only part of the equation. The other part of the equation is to sit down and do experiments. Right. And so I have a framework for it, which we can chat about, but you have to test and validate your marketing plan. Otherwise, it's just a plan on a piece of paper that you don't really know if it worked or not necessarily, unless you have a strategy or game plan for testing and validating it.
Yeah. Oh, we will get into all of that. I also want to throw in this like extra piece though of time, right? Or even like looking at your roadmap or like your journey from San Francisco to the Grand Canyon. Like, you have to know where you're going every day, right? When you were creating a marketing plan. And I think for a whole year, you can be a little more broad strokey, but I made that one up. But whenever you are looking at a specific launch window, or you are, doing your Black Friday sale or whatever it may be, it literally is about taking, for us in-house, we create a doc where we go in, the first thing we do is put the day and date for every day within a marketing window, right? So we'll start on, what is it? Let me pull up a calendar and give some realistic examples. So you're going to do Wednesday, June 1st, Thursday, June 2nd, Friday, June 3rd, and literally map out every single day and then plug all those things that you're talking about into individual days so that you know what you're hitting every single day. You're really giving a lot of shape to the plan in a way that for bosses who love a to-do list, you literally now have your to-do list for where it is that you're going to show up and how all the things fit together. If you're speaking on this day, what the marketing looks like leading up to the speaking gig and after. So you've been talking very sort of not quite nebulously, but like just big picture of like, you need to know all of these things, but you really bring it home by putting it on a calendar.
Yeah. And I think that's the difference. So I think, that's why when we were talking earlier about the different layers of a marketing plan, because like your annual plan isn't that granular. Your annual plan is like, I'm doing a big launch from, Black Friday, I'm making this up, to the end of the year, right? Like, it's a really long launch. I don't know how many weeks that is, right? But it's like, here is what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, who I'm reaching, and that. And then you go down, and if you're doing a specific launch window, that's why you need that launch plan, which is way more detailed. It's like, hey, here's what I'm doing every single day. Here's the list of partners I'm going to reach out to. Here's when I'm going to reach out to people who are also going to promote this. So like, you keep going down layer by layer. And so annually, I'll do something a bit more big picture. Then either quarterly, and people can do, like, I do an annual plan, a quarterly plan, like, all right, let's get a little bit more detailed quarterly. And I'll do a monthly plan, right? And then sometimes, quite honestly, a weekly plan, especially for content where we may have, broad strokes of what content's going out in the next like few weeks, but I have a detailed plan that is done a week or so, if not more, in advance, right? And so to your point, you want to understand, okay, I'm at point A, I'm getting to point B, here's how I'm going to do it, right? Like you may want to know at the annual plan, it's like putting in, okay, here is where we're starting in Bridgewater, New Jersey, where I live. I'm ending up at the Grand Canyon. Okay, I drew the line on the route so I know what's highlighted. And then quarterly, I'm going to go, okay, now what specific roads do I need to be on for the next 3 months in order to get towards my destination, right? And then what am I going to do each day? When are we taking pit stops? What else is happening? And so you definitely want to start big so that you have like, woo, okay, I've got this. But if you end there, then you still won't get it done, right? Because everything to pull off a launch for a product or a specific launch for, a service or anything, even just putting content up on social media, it takes a lot of planning and coordination, right? And I have done it where I'm like, all right, I need to do I'm going to do a reel every day. Right. And I sit down and I think I'm just going to wake up in the morning and do a reel, but I end up sitting there going, oh my gosh, I have nothing to say. What am I going to say? I don't know. And I overthink it and then I do nothing. Right. And so It's like, it's the difference between going on a trip. I've been traveling a lot lately, right? It's the difference between going on a trip and packing your suitcase in advance than packing it a few minutes before you get on the plane. And I have done both recently. And let me tell you, I was grateful when I planned it in advance, when things like my flight got canceled and then I could get on a flight that was leaving in an hour and I had to get my butt to the airport real quick. I was really grateful that I already had a packed suitcase, right? So stuff will happen, things will change. But if you don't have a plan that's detailed, you can't adjust anything, right? And for folks that are like, oh, having a plan, it puts me in a box. I don't want to be in a box. I'm going to be inspired. Okay, that's great. Be inspired. You can change the plan based off of inspiration. You could be driving to the Grand Canyon and go, you know what? I want to make a pit stop at that really cool shopping center I see along the way. But you need to have the plan in the first place, right? So have your plan, get really detailed, put things on your calendar. Personally, I'm a big fan of, I think it's like calendar-12.net or something. It's like the weirdest website. And I'm old school. I download physical calendars and handwrite it and then scan it to my team that puts it in a Google Doc or something, Excel sheet, but I need to physically handwrite it out. But I have that. Like I have my, here's what we're doing every day plan.
Yeah. Right. And that's how you show up and do the work you need to do to hit your goals. I've seen people do this with Post-it notes. In-house, we use Notion a lot for this. I've seen people use just like their Google Calendar for mapping things out that they want to do. Whatever works for you, make that do for yourself. Because this is really, really important for helping you show up in all the ways that you need to show up to help you meet your goals. Because that's the disconnect that I really want to connect, I suppose, for people.
I'm with you. I get it. I'm feeling it.
Right?
We're connecting the disconnect.
Indeed, because so many people are showing up and are wondering why they're not meeting their goals. It's because there's not a plan in place so that you're showing up in the ways that help you meet your goals.
Brendan Bouchard had a video in a course that I bought. I'm going to be real. I think it was in like the content that started before the course. You know what I mean? Like the bonus content.
Yeah.
I know I never made it through the course, but it's because this one video changed my life. And here's what I heard him say to me. I feel like when I watch videos, I hear it in my own way. And here's what Brendan said to me personally through this video. And I've never met him, right? But here's what happened. He essentially said in the video that he should be able to look at your calendar and know what your goals are, because he should see what you're doing every day and be able to extrapolate, okay, here's what your goals are, because I see what you're moving towards. And what I heard him say was, Nick, you've wanted to write a book forever. And if you don't have anything related to writing a book on your calendar, it's a pipe dream. It's never going to happen. Right. And so what happened? Nikki, aka like me, right? I'm talking about myself in the third person. I got my butt looking up things to put on my calendar. I'm like, I'm going to research finding a book deal. I'm going to attend this event. I'm going to do this thing. And I put all this stuff on my calendar. And next thing you knew, I think I saw this video in, I want to say, the beginning of 2018. By June of 2019, I was getting a call from Reed Tracy, who's the CEO of Hay House, that I had a book deal, right? So in about a year and a half, I went from, this is a pipe dream. I had nothing on my calendar. If Brendan Bouchard looked at my calendar, he wouldn't have thought I ever wanted to write anything in my life, to bam, I have a book deal. And that's what can happen when you sit down and you're like, I am like, here's where I am right now. Here's my goal. Here are the things I'm going to do. And real talk, I didn't have everything mapped out specifically for a year and a half, but I had big things like I'm attending this event. I'm doing this thing. I had it all planned pretty far out. And then as I got more information and more detailed, and as I did things and I figured out some things are working, some things aren't, I was able to update and add to my calendar. And I think so often people are like, oh my gosh, I need to know in a year, everything I'm doing on my calendar is detailed for the next 365 days. No, that's not what we're saying. That's why I do annual planning, quarterly planning, monthly planning, and quite frankly, weekly planning, because stuff changes. But without a plan, you won't get there, right? I spent, let's see, I'll be 38 this year. My book came out, I was 37. I got the book deal. I was 30. It was right before I have no concept of time. It was 2019. I don't know how old I was then. What was it, 3 years ago? So it would have been right before my 35th birthday, maybe. I don't know. I'll just put it this way. I spent 30 something years wanting to write a book and nothing happening. And then in a year and a half, got a book deal, all because I put stuff on my calendar.
Yeah. And so to relate this to the marketing side, like if you want to grow your business, right? Literally as simple, I'm like waving my hand in the air, like feeling sassy about this. Because if you want to grow your business, you are going to put time in your calendar to figure out your marketing, and not to post something on social media, right? You have to start with a plan. You have to reassess your plan multiple points throughout the year and through any sort of marketing window. You have to show up to create the content, to schedule the content, to show up to the conferences, whatever it may be. And then also like some postmortem, right? Of like sitting down and looking at what worked and what didn't work, so that the next time you create your plan, you are able to make it that much better because you were paying attention along the way. Putting some strategic marketing stuff on your calendar that's much more strategic than just showing up on social media once a day or once a week or whatever it may be, is how you show your calendar that you think that growing your business is actually important to you.
100%. 100%.
I love it. Okay, perfect. I have 3 sort of last little fun questions for you. We can do them kind of quick fire, though I suck at quick fire. I always like to have follow-up questions, which makes the quick fire completely irrelevant. But I want to think about a tactic or a tip for kind of the 3 phases of a marketing plan, of creating a marketing plan: planning, creating, and executing. So what is something that you wish everyone knew, or something everyone should consider when it comes to planning their marketing plans?
Yes. Okay. So I wish everybody knew when it came to planning their marketing plan was that there are a million things you could do to market your business. Like literally you go on Instagram and there will be somebody marketing a new way for you to market your business, guaranteed. So if you just assume that everything could work for you, then my advice is to choose the thing that you would have the most joy doing, right? Like if anything could work, choose the thing that you'll have the most joy doing, because you're more likely to stick with it. Right. And that would be my quick answer to your rapid fire. I was going to continue, but I was like, Nick, this is rapid fire. That's about as quick as I can get.
That's perfect. Okay. So that's like the very early planning phases. You're sort of getting an idea of all of the options out there. You've sort of made some decisions. Now you are actually sitting down to create your marketing plan, to like get it on a map, whatever that looks like. What is something you wish everyone would consider when it comes to actually sitting down to create their marketing plan?
Yeah, I would have you, if you sit down to create your marketing plan, remember that it's a hypothesis There is no perfect answer. You're not going to have the perfect plan, right? So you might as well sit down and have honest to God, excuse the reference, I don't know, whatever you believe in, but like the terminology, like your honest to God belief that like, hey, I truly believe that if I do these things, it will work. And if you don't have a really strong conviction that something's going to work for you, that's also okay. Again, go back to joy. Like just play, have fun creating your plan. What is the most fun way for me to get to know my target audience? What's the most fun way for me to get in front of them? What's the most fun way for me to get their contact information? Make it fun, make it enjoyable, make it simple, and put it on paper, because the reality is you won't know it will work until you do it, which I feel like is going to be part of your next rapid fire question. So I'm going to stop there.
Perfect. And I want to throw in here, this is where the being boss test and change mindset comes in, right? You're going to test all these things out, playing just like Nikki said, and then show up and change it as needed. Okay. Then final question here. You are right. What is something that you wish everyone would consider when it comes to actually sitting down and executing a marketing plan?
Yes. So when you're executing a marketing plan, the most important part of the execution is tracking your results, because essentially you're going to act like a mad scientist, which was my framework, which is MAAD, which essentially means you make the plan, you activate the plan, and then here's the kicker, you adjust the plan based on the results, and then you do it again. Right. And so the activating, it's not a one and done. It's a continuous loop. And so you have to put your plan out into the world. You have to look at the results. You have to go, how far off was I from my goal? Let me do it again. Right. Like, let me tweak something and do it again. And it's the same thing if you're trying to like lose weight, or you're trying to, I don't know, I'm running out of examples and analogies here, but like, if you're trying to, I don't know, get better skin, you may try a product or so and then go, that didn't work. But you have to try it for a certain period of time and go, you know what? I'm not seeing the results I want. Let me try something else. I think it sort of got me in the right direction, but I now know that if I add this ingredient, maybe my skincare routine will get a little bit better. Again, made up analogies, but literally for your business, for using me earlier, I did a webinar once and was like, oh, I didn't get the results I thought I was going to get. So I threw it out the window. I metaphorically threw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't do that, right? Like, do it again, commit to doing it again and again and again. And quite frankly, I encourage people again to do their marketing activities, their general plan, test it like 6 times in a year or so, like a year plus, before you go, okay, this is definitely a heck yeah or heck no of a plan.
Wonderful. Thank you for all of those. Those are really helpful little insights, because this is such a major part of your business, such a major part, and one that I think too many bosses just sort of, slide into the I don't care today category.
Yeah.
Or not enough today. I think we all care, just not enough today.
Yeah. Like, if I ran my business based off my feelings, I wouldn't do anything. I would lie in bed and Netflix and chill.
Amen.
Which is why I'm a big fan of not only having a plan, but when you have a plan, you can do things in advance so that if I get sick or I have a day where I don't feel like it, I've not only planned, but I've recorded or pre-created stuff so that I can, or pre-scheduled stuff, right? So that I can take a day to myself or slack off or get sick. It's when you don't have a plan and you're like, every day I'm just going to try to get up and write a newsletter or record a TikTok video or do something or post on Instagram, that suddenly you start ghosting your audience because you didn't feel like it for a couple of days. And then you're like, oh, it's been too long. I've been there. I'm making fun of myself in the past, right? Like I'm making light of it, but it's because I've done it where I'm like, I don't feel like it. And next thing you know, you haven't marketed your business for 6 months because, you got in your head. So have a plan, create things in advance, and you'll be in a much better place.
Perfect. Nikki, thank you so much for coming and sharing, hopefully shedding some light on the mystery that I feel so many feel around marketing plans. Where can bosses find more about you and your book and what it is that you do?
Absolutely. So the first thing I will say is if you go to getmoredreamclients.com, you'll find a guide that I've created that literally walks you through building out your marketing plan. So if you need like extra special notes in addition to the show notes here on how to do this, it's all detailed there. My frameworks are there. It's magic. I also will shout out my book is called Market Your Genius, as well as my podcast. So if you want more of me, you can find me on the Market Your Genius podcast, on the Market Your Genius, the book, or DM me on Instagram. I'm at Nikki Nash Official.
Perfect. And last question for you is, what's making you feel most boss?
Ooh, okay. So this is not my normal, like, I don't know why this is my answer right now, but right now what is making me feel most boss is I've started traveling again, and I've actually started, like dressing up like a human. And like I wore heels for the first time in years, like the other day.
Yeah.
I've upped my sneaker collection. Like I have a really sweet now sneaker collection because I'm like, I'm not wearing heels all the time anymore. Like that's out the window. But it's just like making me feel really confident and in my element to get dressed up and go out and like speak on stages or speak in front of people and network, and all of that is making me feel like a boss. That and walking around when people are like, what you got going on? Is that your book? I'm like, heck yeah, I got a book.
Yeah, you
so
did.
like traveling with my book makes me feel like a boss.
In real clothes. Perfect.
And even putting on makeup. I'm like amazed. It's like a whole new me.
Indeed. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. This has been an incredibly fun and insightful chat.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I love talking to you. This is so much fun.
All right, boss, because you're here, I know you want to be a better creative business owner, which means I've got something for you. Each week, the team at Being Boss is scouring the news, the best entrepreneurial publications, and updates and releases of the apps and tools that run our businesses, and is curating it all into a weekly email that delivers the must-know tips and tactics in the realms of mindset, money, and productivity. This email is called Brewed. We brew it up for you each week to give you the insight you need to make decisions and move forward in your creative business. Check it out now and sign up for yourself at beingboss.club/brewed. That's beingboss.club/BREWED. Now, until next time, do the work, be boss.
Yeah.